How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Alpha Junction Reviews. Today we are looking at my first Rapido locomotive. We are looking at a Rapido B36-7, excuse the dog. And specifically, this is a Conrail B36-7 in the Conrail quality logo, number 5056. And as you see, it has DCC and sound. There will be a sound demo at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and open up the box, and it's a very large box considering the size of the actual locomotive. This is our owner's manual, which looks a lot like an actual General Electric's owner's manual for a locomotive. Let's keep going, and we have some lovely little Rapido flyers here, like for instance, like where you can find them. And here is our exploded diagram of the locomotive, and as you can see, we have a lot of parts in here because this is a very heavily detailed locomotive. Rapido takes pride in how much detail they throw into their locomotives. Release this piece of foam out of the way, and I really do apologize for that dog. It just started barking, so oh well. And there's our lovely locomotive inside of its protective clamshell. So let's go ahead and pull this out of its clamshell, actually. Pull off the blister packaging right there. Let's go ahead and take this piece of foam off. And there it is. As you can see, it has some truck stabilizers that keep the trucks from moving when the locomotive is being transported in the box. All right, let's get this out of the way. Oops, sorry about that. And let's get our foam out. And there we go. All right, so now let's get into some history. Alrighty, so now onto some history. And our history on the locomotive comes from the actual owner's manual itself. They give you a nice prototype information, so here we go. Replacing the Universal Series, the U36B in the GE catalog, the first prototype B36-7 locomotives were built in Erie, Pennsylvania in 1980 for the St. Louis Southwestern, otherwise known as the Cotton Belt. Initial orders were hampered by the recession of 1981 and 1982. However, by the last year of production in 1985, some 222 locomotives had been constructed for U.S. railroads, with a further 8 for export. British Rail ordered almost one, and by that we mean they didn't order any. Too bad for them. I should also mention that Rapido likes to throw some comedy into their manuals. The design found customers in several of the larger Class 1s of the period. Santa Fe, Conrail, Seaboard System, Southern, and Southern Pacific, with the mergers of the mid-1980s and the Conrail split of 1999, the bulk of the fleet ended up with CSX and Norfolk Southern. Circa 2000, the CSX roster was overflowing with B36-7s, with around 140 former Conrail and Seaboard units operating all over the eastern half of the United States. The ex-Seaboard fleet was officially retired towards the end of 2009, but examples were still working into 2011. The increased power also meant increased noise. As well as a larger silencer introduced in 1979, GE attempted to mitigate this with a pair of sound baffles on either side of the radiator section. These were installed on all the Cotton Belt, Santa Fe, and Southern locomotives and the first Conrail units. The first 15, excuse me. By 1983, GE had replaced the twin radiator fans with a single large fan to reduce noise. 3 additional grills in the doors in the radiator section made this upgrade obvious, and only Southern retained the baffles beyond 1986. And even then, only the lower of the 2 on each. The turbocharged 16-cylinder 7 FDL prime mover rate was rated at 3,600 horsepower, but later examples would be boosted up to 3,750 horsepower, and an upgraded alternator and traction motors proved to be a reliable combination. However, with all that power on top and with just 8 wheels to lay it all down, they gained a reputation for shaking the fillings out of the teeth and marrow from bones. That's another joke. They were well liked by rail fans, though, and were among the last of the Dash 7s in the Class 1 service, outliving the 6-axle variants by a number of years. Alright, so now we've gone through that very lengthy history, let's get into some details, starting with the front. So, like I said in the beginning, this locomotive is packed with details, and we're going to go over those. Starting at the top, working our way down to the front, as we always do. Here is our forward-mounted headlight right here. Let's actually focus on it right there. There you are. Here's our forward-mounted headlight, and here are our number boards. I believe these do light up when the locomotive is in motion. I've just only pulled this locomotive out of the box to look at it, and I will get into that at a later date. in the video. But anyway, as you can see, we have some separately applied windshield wipers on all 4 of the windows, and there is a door to access the cab from the front of the locomotive. We have 2 grab irons on the nose right here, one right here and one right here. You can just see it, but there is a sand filler hatch right here. And here we have the iconic Conrail red marker lights. They're also known as the beast eyes or bug eyes. There's a description of the reason for those, but unfortunately I don't want to make this video way too long. Below the marker lights is the Conrail quality logo, and we have some electrical boxes underneath the logo there. Here is if we focus on the directly front of the locomotive, you can see our handrails and grab irons. We have a chain right here. I believe that right there, it would be the walkway light. And as you can see, we have our low mounted ditch lights underneath the anti-climber. We have a coupler cut bar underneath the ditch lights. Unfortunately, it's black, so you really can't see it. We have some grab irons on top of the snow plow, and here are our MU cables, 3 on either side, and there is an air hose, and here is our KD coupler right here. All right, so now let's look at the rear. Looking at the rear of the locomotive, starting at the top here, we have a sand filler hatch, and there are some grab irons that work their way from the top of the locomotive all the way down to the bottom there. Here is our number boards as well as our rear mounted headlight. Another Conrail quality logo right here. Our marker lights on either side of the logo right there. And as you can see, we have more electrical boxes, and we have our walkway here. Another coupler cut bar, another KD coupler, more MU hoses, 3 on either side. There's our air brake hose and some MU sockets. All right, so now let's look at the side of the locomotive. Looking at the side of the locomotive, starting here at the front, we have a big F to indicate this is the front of the locomotive. You can see a long, large line of electrical boxes right there. Here is our number 5056, along with the indication B36-7. There is some illegible writing right underneath there. The cab does have an interior, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to see it. You actually can see just a little bit of it through the windows there. And as you can see, here's our truck detail, and it's very nicely done. Lovely truck detail, and there's a jack pad right here. I'm not sure what this box is for, but I think it could be a AC box, but I'm not sure. Moving along here, we have our air tank reservoirs for the air brakes right here, and they're on either side of the fuel tank as opposed to being in the fuel tank. Here's our lovely Conrail quality logo, which is a very nice logo. I enjoyed it very much. Here's a Leslie RS3L horn. Conrail was really big on the Leslie RS3Ls, so a lot of the locomotives had that kind of horn. And as you can see, it has an almost -9 and AC44 like exhaust port, which is very nice. You can actually see there's just a little old Conrail logo right there. And here is our radiator section. As you can see, no see-through grills, which is kind of a shame, but you know, you don't always have to B-scale trains. And there is our rear truck, and some more illegible writing right there, and another jack pad. It's pretty much the same on the other side, minus that little like box that's behind the cab there, and also the lacking of that other Conrail little logo, the little one that we did see on the other side that was in this area. But still, it's a really good looking locomotive. So now let's get into the top, or look at the roof. Looking at the roof of the locomotive, I did forget to mention it, but right there is our brake wheel, as you can see right there. And we have some antennas right on the top here of the locomotive. There's a better look at the horn. And as we move the locomotive this way, you can see the exhaust stack right there. And you can see the sand filler hatch right here behind the radiator, and there's a little grab iron right here that is inside the radiator, which is a very unique, I believe, to this locomotive, but it looks very cool regardless. And what's interesting is if I look down at the exhaust port, I can see a few wires. All right, so now let's get into the sound demo of this video. Alrighty, so we have the locomotive currently on the test track. As you can see, it's a different test track today because it's the holiday season. There's nowhere quiet in my room, so I can't pull out the big piece and record because obviously it's just too darn loud. So we're just here at the review table, and so let's turn the power on here. Alrighty, so F0 is the this is the headlight here. As you see, it's on right there. F6 for low sound. This locomotive has low sound, so F6 is going to be the ditch lights, and they are very bright. As you can see, they're leaving a mark there on the table. F1 is the bell. And okay. Alright, there it is. Turn the bell off. F2 is the horn. Now you see the ditch lights are flashing, which is really cool. It is a feature that Conrail, Amtrak, other commuters, and Norfolk Southern and CSX, they all do that. F3 is a flange squeal, apparently. Maybe not. Alright. F5 is a dinette, is a... So what that was known as the Doppler horn, which is cool. Very interesting. Let's see if we can get the... Let's get those ditch lights to stop flashing here, so we can actually have it move out. Alright, well, anyway, there it is. There we go. Alright, just had to hit the right key. So let's go ahead and move it forward here a bit. That distinctive GE chug noise as it goes past the camera here. And by the way, the bell is currently ringing in my ears. It's actually starting to hurt my ears, which I'm not that cool about. And you see the dish lights are still flashing, and let's just go ahead and move it forward here so we can end off the review. Ooh, that's the wrong button. All right, so let's get into my final thoughts. All right, so in terms of this locomotive, in terms of detail, it looks great. It sounds great too. Now, obviously, as I did say during the sound demo, the bell ringing did kind of make my ears ring, so that was a little painful. And I can't give this locomotive a solid A because of one big reason. When I pulled this out of the box for the first time, the cab was detached. The only thing holding it to the actual, the rest of the locomotive were the handrails. So I'll give them props on the handrails. But the locomotive's cab was detached, so I spent a solid 15 minutes trying to shimmy it back into place. I did successfully put it back into place, and obviously there's no repercussions to that. Obviously the locomotive didn't explode when I put it on the track. But anyway, I found this at the Western Depot, which is a hobby shop in Yuba City. There's one B36-7 left, and it's still there. It's still in stock, but it is not the Conrail quality. It's just the regular Conrail logo with just the can opener scheme. It's around $300, so, and then there's a California sales tax, so just watch out for that. But anyway, I still recommend if you can find any of these B36-7s, get one, because they are very nice, they look great, and they sound great. And so yeah, but anyway, if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Also subscribe if you're not, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload. I upload on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. However, as the new year comes in, I might be slowing down because of changing jobs and not being able to actually come and review things. But yeah, but anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.